Good morning. Purpose of this video is to show you how to use the binomial distribution table. It's in the appendix in your textbook. You can see at the top of the document that it's on page 8A. Across the top of the document or table, you can see that we're listing all the different possible probabilities. So this table does have some limits to it, because if you wanted to look at the probability of 78%, for example, you could use 80% to guesstimate it, but 78% is not on our table. All right, and then over here on the side you can see n and x. So for example, if n is 4, then the possible values for x would be 0 through 4, and then these are the corresponding probabilities based on what the probability of a success is. Okay, so we're going to take a very simple example of Jennifer playing basketball, and the probability of a success is 0.8, and the success is the number of free throws made. Now we're going to say she's going to shoot 10 free throws, and let's change that. Let's do 5. That way I can stay on the same page. Okay, so she's going to shoot five free throws, and what would we expect her to make is one of the questions from the last video. And so what is the average? So 5 times 0.8, we would expect her to make 4. So let's live on the edge. What's the probability that she would make 5? Well, looking at our table, we would come in here and she's shooting 5 free throws. So we need this area right here. And then probability of success is way over here at 80. So we're looking at these numbers here. So what is the probability that she would hit exactly 5? 0.328, or about 33%. That's not too shabby. Now, what's the probability she would make less than 4? Well, there's 2 ways to work that. That's the probability that she made 0, 1, 2, or 3, or you could do the complement. So what's the complement to being less than 4? Well, being 4 or 5. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to do 1 minus the probability that I'm 4 or the probability that I'm 5, because it's just a teeny tiny bit less work. You can work it however way you'd like. So the probability of being exactly 4 is 0.410. Probability of 5 we already looked up. And we do the number crunching on this and come up with her probability. Okay, so that's a pretty basic way to use the table. Another way you can use the table is that you can use it to help you graph. So for example, if we wanted to do the binomial distribution for a binomial distribution where we were doing 10 trials and the probability of a success was 0.9, for example, and we asked you to graph it, well then along the x-axis you would have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way out to 10, okay? And then along here you would actually graph your probabilities on your y-axis. So when x is 0, the probability is 0, so you've got lots of zeros. In fact, you don't see anything being graphed here until the end of the graph. So let's take a look at that. So if you look, all of these are zeros all the way through here. And so you have a lot of skewness. Do you see that? If we're talking about shape, it's very skewed to the low numbers. The majority of everything existing is 9 or 10. And that makes sense because the probability of success was so high, you wouldn't expect to see many things happening down here at the lower end. So using your table is great. It is limited to how much you can do. If you scroll through the rest of the table, you might have another page in your book, and I only have 2 of them here, but you can see I'm only going to 15. So it's very limited on what you can actually look up. So in the next video, I'll show you how to use StatCrunch.